This is Babbling About, where we talk about things we've watched recently, and it's fun for everyone involved.
Allegedly.
Leave us a comment. Let us know. There's two things actually I've watched this week of note that I thought I would share with the group. I watched Ballerina from the world of John Wick.
Who is the ballerina?
It is Ana de Armas.
That's it.
Who she's been in quite a few things, I think, but I only actually really know her from Knives Out, the first things. Of the three.
What's she in the first one?
She is the nurse who actually believes.
Oh, she's the
okay. the one who always throws up when when she lies.
Yeah.
She's a very good character in that. I really like her. But I watched her. I'm a massive fan of the John Wick movies. I like an action movie, as you know, anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm a really big fan of the John Wick series. So I was quite looking forward to watching Ballerina,
because she's a character that's in. So I've only watched the first John Wick.
I've never seen a John Wick.
So no, she is not a character that you know. She is so John Wick Ballerina. It happened in terms of the timeline. There are 4 John Wick movies. Right, you've obviously got John Wick number 1.
Are you going to explain numbers to us, Nodo?
You got John Wick Chapter 2. And you got John Wick Parabellum, which is the third one, which I don't know why it has its own name.
There's no 3 in it though.
It might be John Wick 3 Parabellum. I don't know. It's got a subtitle to it.
Right.
But basically, this one happens in terms of the timeline. It happens between 3 and 4.
Right.
And Keanu Reeves does appear in it as John Wick. But as an action movie, I thought it was great. I really, really enjoyed it.
Ballerina.
Yeah. I've liked all of the John Wick films, but yes, I thought this was up there as a John Wick film that I really enjoyed. And I was quite surprised at how good it was, right? And the reason I was quite surprised by how good it was because before I watched it, I read that it was directed by a chap called Len Wiseman. Either of you know who Len Wiseman is?
I do.
Used to be married to Kate Beckinsale.
Yes, and that's an important...
those films.
The Underworld movies.
Yeah.
And I was quite surprised when I watched it that it was as good as as good an experience as it was. Because I thought... I liked those movies, the Underworld movies, but I think in part I liked them because you're the one with the Kate Beckinsale.
No, it was me.
Oh, it was you. But yeah,
I wasn't saying no.
no. I think
Oh, Katie Beckinsale. No.
But those movies were they have their place.
They moved you in ways.
But they're not exactly.
There were some cool moments in them. For sure. Like when she shoots the floor with the bullets, and that somehow makes it enough for it to fall down. But I
was quite surprised to see his name attached to a series like something from the John Wick stuff, because there's a spin-off series on Amazon Prime called The Continental, which is the story of Ian McShane stars in the John Wick movies, but it's the series Continental is a prequel series to how he gains his place at the Continental. Continental being a hotel for hitmen, which is like a safe haven.
So there's quite a universe.
Oh, it's a massive. Massive. The John Wick work. It's a massive. It's based on comic book stuff. So it's a properly well realized.
I don't know. No, I didn't know that. I don't know a lot about it apart from the fact that it's a film called John Wick, and
I would highly recommend. Certainly the first one. Whether or not like you gauge whether or not you'd enjoy the second. Yeah. But the good thing about them is kind of story or no, the action is so well done that if you're an action fan, and there's in the certainly in the first John Wick movie, there's a shootout in a club, but the shootout all of the, and you don't notice it the first time you watch it, you just think it's very well put together. But what you then realise after you've watched it, if you've watched it more than once, is
everyone is naked.
I didn't notice.
You're just watching kicking and you're like, I don't notice.
Everything is done in time to the music.
Right.
So you've got this heavy sort of dance track happening in the background, but all of the gunshots, all of the fights, all of the everything is well choreographed. But yeah, so I watched Ballerina and I kind of thought, Len Wiseman this is going to be a bit cheap looking, or not quite as clever,
as polished. Yeah.
And I watched it, and I was really pleasantly surprised at how well put together the action sequences were and stuff. The story's a bit basic. It's, someone's out for revenge, but that's kind of what these things are.
John Wick is.
But then I subsequent to watching it, thought I'll have a look at like the trivia stuff on IMDb, which I quite often do, and I was really interested to read that this film had 3 months worth of reshoots.
Wow!
Subsequent to Len Wiseman's version being turned in. And those 3 months of reshoots were almost all exclusively directed by Chad Stahelski, I think is how you pronounce his name, who is the director of the first 3 John Wick movies, and possibly all 4, but certainly the first one.
So it's
and he's a former stunt guy. I think he was one of Keanu Reeves' stunt doubles in the Matrix movies.
Right.
So they obviously kind of know each other very well. But yeah, it was subject to 3 months worth of reshoots because apparently the first version was an absolute, like it was I think, to quote, it was a boring mess.
Oh really?
And I've got to say, it didn't really notice. From my point of view, it didn't look like the film had been rehashed and sort of redone.
It didn't look.
It all worked.
Yeah, but
pretty well.
3 months worth. I mean,
depending
how solid that is as
as
a whole.
It was written, it was practically they reshot almost the entire movie.
I was going to say 3 months worth. You could, if you planned it out well and whatever, you could shoot the whole film in 3 months.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I just found that
So is he still listed as the director?
Still listed as the director, the writer.
Wow.
And apparently the story as written, and the only writer who's credited with being a writer on it, the film he wrote was not a John Wick movie.
Right.
The film he wrote was just like an action movie
that featured a character
with a different name, a different backstory, different reason for doing what she did, and was kind of really, it was almost not quite parody, but was supposed to kind of lean into the ridiculousness of 80s action movies. So I read in one of the first drafts of the script, there's supposed to be a whole fight scene where she is stark bollock naked because she's in the shower when the fight starts.
Dead or alive.
Oh, yeah. But that was kind of how it was written, and then it got adapted and rewritten and redone and blah blah blah. But yes, Len Wiseman is the only credited director, and the writer, whose name escapes me, is the only credited writer. So it does suggest sort of this pained backstory. But as an action movie in that world, in that universe, there's some great bits of sort of fight choreography as you'd kind of expect from this kind of movie. There's a whole sequence at the end where there are 2 people fighting with flamethrowers, which again, bonkers, but visually just looks phenomenal. Like you do just watch it, like a couple of bits where it's like, pretty sure you'd have lost all of your hair in that moment. But
you would be melting.
But as an action movie experience, if you like the John Wick movies, it's not a bad addition to that. To that kind of that world. It's not up there as kind of the greatest action movie I've watched, but didn't pick my phone up.
Perfectly serviceable.
Keanu Reeves is very much, that whole Wick universe feels very much like Tom Cruise on Mission Impossible vibe. You know what I mean? Like this is his little thing, and he's doing very well with it.
I would say that he is less of a driving force for it, though. I don't think he's
than Tom Cruise is in
the Mission Impossible stuff. Yeah, I don't think he's quite. I mean, that's the impression I get. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes for it, but yeah, it seems like he's more kind of, he's there as part of it, but he's not the driving force that kind of keeps them going.
I thought he was almost like.
Don't think
one of the producers.
It does. He is, right. But then so is everyone on everything.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Especially once you're a few films
I get that.
in.
I thought the impression was that he was quite all over it. Like, he loves choreography of kung fu, like from the Matrix and all of that stuff. That I thought he was quite involved in that regard. I don't know if that's true.
I more so get the sense that he's just pretty good at it, and he likes what he does, as opposed to being like, I'm going to make sure that I get to do more of this, and it's going to wow you.
No, I think no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying being hands-on with the like almost being overlooking them and sort of giving thoughts, maybe choreographing some of it.
He's very much like all of the. in terms of the stunts and the action sequences, a lot of that is definitely done by Keanu Reeves, and he's kind of very much involved in that for sure.
That's what I mean, is that as in that way they're a driving
Yeah, sorry,
force.
I thought you meant as like a creative force behind the whole.
Not necessarily. Yeah, I'm sure he has his say.
But he's invested in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would say that his appearance in the movie, having then read what I read afterwards, his appearance in the movie does seem a little bit like.
You forcing this in?
I don't think that was necessary.
Do you think it was a bit like adding Dom at the end of Tokyo Drift?
Oh, possibly. He's got a little bit more to do with it than Dom has at the end of Tokyo Drift. But yes, it's kind of. Well,
you're very proud, aren't you?
No, I hadn't seen the first two properly at that point, and I was like, I don't care. I don't.
What is
this
happening?
film is awful.
Yeah.
Then it turns out people loved it.
Yeah, no. I still maintain it's the most shocking film franchise to me.
We will do the whole universe.
Great.
And he will love it, and I think you will hate it.
Probably will.
You're saying it like I don't. Like
Already
I'm not
love
already
it.
invested.
Yeah.
Like I've seen all of those films. I've seen all of those films, and yes, to be honest, if I'm flicking through and there's nothing on the telly, and on one of the movie channels there is a from Fast 5 onwards. Yeah. If one of those movies is on, I will leave it on, and I will just let it happen because it's bonkers
Take
nonsense.
me away. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
But yeah, that did feel tacked on. But yeah, as action movies go, I would say if you like that,
give it a watch.
Give it a whirl. If you've not been exposed to it before, don't go for that first. Go for the first John Wick, because that's the first John Wick is head and shoulders above the rest. The rest are all bigger, louder action sequences that kind of. But as a movie, the first one is a really solid.
Yeah, I'm not against watching them. I definitely would.
I would say definitely go seek that one out. The other thing that I've watched, or series of movies that I've watched, is I have watched 4 of the 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies over the course of the last 2 weeks or so, because me and the kids over the Christmas period happened to catch a bit of the first one, which is The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Had they seen that before?
No, they hadn't seen it, and because we caught probably.
It's a very good film.
Flicking through the channels, and it happened to be on, and they were like, "Oh, this is good," and I said, "Well, we're not going to watch it from now because it was like halfway through." I said, "Yeah, they were already into it. They would have been quite happy to."
Yeah.
But I said, "No, this is like if we're going to watch this movie,
we do it proper, like a proper family."
So we put on the first one, and then it was only in putting on the first one that they then discovered that there were more. They were like, "Can we watch the next one? Can we watch another one?" So we've watched.
And you went, "Kids, it's not getting better."
You peaked right there.
I said, "It's fine if you want to watch it. They're perfectly,
they're old enough to ruin their own.
They could, they can just. Those films can definitely just happen.
They can.
Sitting around, but I've got to be honest. I was almost like the first one's definitely has always been a good movie. It's enjoyable. Yeah, it's a good movie. I was actually quite surprised at how much I enjoyed
the others.
Even the fourth one, which is arguably like out of the ones that we've watched. But I was really like, they are definitely overly long. Yeah. Like the second one and the third one are both close to 3 hours long each.
Oh, they really? I remember them. I remember thinking we're wrapping up soon. Oh, we're not.
Yeah. The fourth one is not. The fourth one's like 2 hours 10.
What's the fourth one? Is that the one with the mermaids?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
a bit of a weird
one, wasn't it?
So interesting. The fourth one is actually it's Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, and apparently it is adapted from a story called Stranger Tides, which is a novel about a pirate called Jack.
Right.
But it is not Jack Sparrow. It is just a novel. So they've taken that and they've kind of adapted it to be part of the story.
Jack was quite a common just name to give to people who didn't have names.
Yeah.
Or just,
You don't know Jack.
Informally. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't. No one does. But yeah, I genuinely watched them and was like, these aren't as bad as I remember in my head being like, oh God, after the first one, they're all toilet. They're all absolutely but they're actually not. They're not great.
No.
But there's enough going on in them that's fun. Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is enjoyable in all of them. And I actually like the fifth one is on the kids' list to watch, and we are going to watch it sort of.
Is that without Jack Sparrow?
No, they've all got Jack Sparrow. Weirdly,
I thought they did one without him.
No, the fourth one has no Orlando Bloom and no Keira Knightley.
Fine with that.
Yeah, which I was as well, because they're. But
even in the second one, I was a bit like, should they still be here?
Well, their story kind of.
She has that kiss moment.
She has a good story in the first one.
Yes,
and she has.
They're both warranted in the first one.
Yeah, one thing I was surprised by was the fact that the first three appear to have at least a whole arc that runs across the three of them, like it was planned.
Yeah,
like the three of them were planned as to be a trilogy. Fourth one, as I say, is very obviously a separate story.
It's like here's another tale about.
Here's another tale. It's got some characters that you know about because it's got Jack Sparrow. It also has Jeffrey Rush, which is Captain Barbossa.
Yeah.
But then they introduce Penelope Cruz and they introduce Ian McShane as Blackbeard.
Yeah, I've only seen those three of the trilogy
the one with Ian McShane and that is the fourth one.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah,
I think I might have seen a bit of that actually, but I've never watched it fully.
I don't think I've seen the fifth one, so I will report back potentially on how that one goes. But yeah, I just it's in terms of
surprised.
I was surprised by how much I actually enjoyed them. My wife during the fourth one, she went upstairs to read her book. She was like, "This is terrible," and I was like, "I don't think it is." But then,
I honestly think she should be here reviewing.
She'd
up the class level.
We should almost have Tina's in, like maybe she could record us a little bit. Actually, those fucking fucking shit.
I lasted 20 minutes.
She hadn't watched the three
others
prior. She'd watched bits of. I think she sat through the second one, I think, and watched bits of the others, but she hadn't sat through all of them in the same way.
She wasn't invested.
No,
she didn't get the canon.
Less,
didn't understand the art.
Yeah, but so there you go. That's
surprising.
I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was surprised by how much I remember thinking the first time round. Oh, come on, Johnny Depp, Jack Sparrow's getting a bit dull now. Why'd you keep doing this?
When they actually came out,
thinking like, oh God, not another one.
Yeah, but I think distance from these things makes a big difference.
Yeah.
It's like with music. Like I didn't listen to Linkin Park for a really long time because I listened to it a lot and I just got oversaturated by it. And it was probably a good 15 years almost before I properly started to listen to it.
Yeah, and you're like, I love this song.
Yeah, this album's really good.
I'm going to add this now to my...
You just get oversaturated. And then just time is a healer and you come back around to them.
I think that was my problem with they were long.
Yes.
They were long and they felt overly long. I was getting bored with them whilst watching and I was like, this needs to hurry along a lot.
Yeah. I'm not that interested anymore.
No.
I think almost going into it knowing how long they were helped this time around.
Yeah, probably.
Because it was kind of like, well, I know that I'm not near the end, so I'm not...
Did the kids keep interest throughout?
Yeah, I was actually... That's the thing. I was sort of pleasantly surprised. Because if you think, the first one's over 2 hours, and then the second and the third are nearly 3 hours each.
Yeah, so 6 hours. Those second two.
Yeah, so that's 8. So we've watched 10 hours worth of Pirates of the Caribbean over that. And, I would have said, if you'd have asked me up front, will they sit through... across the course of a week, will they sit through 10 hours of the same series of movies? I'd have said, my son would probably sit through 10 hours of Star Wars movies because he loves it. But my daughter, no, I wouldn't have. She doesn't engage with those things because they don't interest her in that way normally.
Curtis wouldn't either.
Both of us.
I think it depends on age, and because I think, for us, and this is going to be sort of not quite old men shouting at the sky, but for us, we had no other option. It was either watch what was on and watch it, or go do something else. So I think we were more primed to watch films because we're far more used to them and familiar with them.
And there was less to do otherwise.
And there was less to do otherwise.
Yeah.
Whereas kids now, or over the last, say, 10, 15 years, have had way more choice than ever before.
Things to occupy their time,
and then the content just gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So then they sort of grow up a bit, and then the idea even of them sitting down to watch films just is alien to them. And even a friend of mine who's like 33 just doesn't watch films because
too much of an investment, long.
It's too much of a time invested. It's just like, no, I don't want to watch the same thing for that long.
I bet they watch series. They'll binge a series for 10 hours.
But I think that's where films kind of messed up a little bit, because films just got longer unnecessarily. Yeah. For some weird reason, like they just went, longer will mean good. It will mean an event and people will talk about it. It's like, well, no, Lord of the Rings were that length because they kind of like needed to be. They had a lot to tell.
There was enough story to tell to fill that
some
time.
of the Marvel films, I think Endgame's probably quite a long one.
That's over 3 hours.
Yeah, and it's like, well, it's a big event film. You kind of get it. All right, there's a lot going on with it. But there were other films that you're just like, why is this 2 hours and 40 minutes and I learned nothing?
Like Jurassic Park, whatever that one we did recently-ish.
That one felt like we're just adding in action scenes because we're padding for time. Indiana Jones was the same. And it's just like, doesn't make it, like, give me shorter, leave me wanting a little bit more than what you're giving, because otherwise I just don't want it. Like,
I've got
don't let me get bored with this.
No objection to a long movie if there is a story to tell.
Yeah, if I'm being pulled along with it and I'm like, yes, absolutely. But not most of them aren't at all.
Would you on the thing of long movies, would you or do you have any interest in seeing The Whole Bloody Affair, which is the Kill Bill?
Yes, I would be.
Because it's 4 hours and it's 4 hours in one sitting.
I would be. I've always wanted. Has he re-edited to make that?
Yes. So the bit that happens at the end of one and at the start of the other.
Yeah.
Is all gone. It then there's been I read that he's introduced
the start of the second one.
Yeah, it's all
breaking out of the.
Yeah, it flashes back to the first bits of the first, but there's also a whole animated section which tells the backstory of. I want to say
that was in before with the little girl.
I don't remember.
And she hides under the bed. Am I imagining it?
No, you might not be. I don't know. I can't remember the originals that well. But I certainly
what you're saying is sort of triggering things. But I'm not really sure which one.
I certainly read that there was a whole bit that had been
maybe they've added more
or added.
Re-edited and changed. And I always felt like the second one was a bit slow in places and didn't kind of flow properly. The first one I was like, bang, it kind of bangs it. Second one, I think it starts kind of slow, and then it has weird pacing problems. I felt like the second one.
But I think that works better when it's so that's rolling part of one experience. The other thing that I read about it is, do you remember the whole black and white fight scene?
Yes, is it now in
full
colour? Yeah.
Because
it was a censor thing.
It was a censorship thing rather than a like an artistic choice.
Yeah.
I'd be quite interested, but I don't know that I could do 4 hours.
Yeah, but you can stop things and go.
Yeah, but then sometimes what's the point? If I can stop it, I might as well sit at home and watch part one and then part two. But
it's a re-edit. Oh yeah, I wouldn't stop it and then go, I'll carry on tomorrow. But like if I need to go for a pee or whatever. But no, I would absolutely watch that, especially re-edited, because like I said,
cinema. Did you go cinema for it?
For 4 hours? Yeah, I
Depends
could
on
do.
the cinema, probably.
So I could do the Odyssey that I went to. That's why that's what brought it to mind. Is they said we're showing this next week.
I don't possibly, but I kind of like the idea of just being in my comfies and going, I've got 4 hours sat here watching something. But I'd be up.
Settle in for the afternoon.
Yeah.
You didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you?
Yeah, I kind of did.
I watched Naked Gun 1 and 2, the 1980s.
The original ones.
Yes, the original ones with Leslie Nielsen, and I watched them with my brother, who is...
Never seen them? Has he never seen them?
He's never seen them. He is 30 years old, 29 years old, nearly 30.
30 this year.
Yeah. And he is someone who loves Star Wars, apparently, right? But he's watched A New Hope... He watched Emperor Strikes Back and went, I don't need to watch any more of the films. and has not watched any more of them, but he watches the Clone Wars and loves the Clone Wars.
He's not seen Return of the Jedi?
Nope.
Ironically, that's
or
probably
Phantom
the one
Menace,
you would like.
or
Attack
any
the
of them.
Clones.
Yeah.
I can
Revenge of the
almost
Sith.
get on board with the. I've never seen any of the prequels and I've never seen any of the subsequent sequels.
No.
But to have watched 2 of the original 3 and then gone, do you know what? I'm fine. I don't need that story rounding off. I don't need to see it.
I'll watch Clone Wars. He asks every so often. He asks me questions. I think he said like, well, what happened? Like, I don't know whether he was taking the mix. I can never tell.
Because we
But it was
I
like,
was with
just-
you having
yeah.
that conversation.
And
We
he
had
was-
that conversation.
He was like, did Qui-Gon Jinn ever meet Darth Vader? Like, did they ever have a fight? And I was like,
You would know.
You would know
Yeah,
this
yes.
if you watched the Phantom
I think
Menace.
I was
And he was
there
like,
and-
nah, Clone Wars will probably fill me in. And then at one point he messaged me and went, oh, Qui-Gon's a ghost. Because he appears in the series, I guess, at one point.
I was there, and he kept asking questions, and the answer was, if you watch,
just watch the
films, it
films.
would
He's
tell
like,
you.
nah.
These answers are all available
Yeah,
to
he
you.
was
Yeah.
like, he's so cool. It's like General Grievous is so cool. And I was like, yes, but he originally came from the. It was like, yeah, but you do all the stuff beforehand. He just is so cool. And it's like he just likes the flashiness. Anyway, that's who I was sat down watching it with. And it's because they're old comedies.
Yes.
They.
I imagine they got some sort of warning at the start of them if you find them on a streaming service.
What,
now.
Naked Gun?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm trying to think of what they would do that's that.
I don't know.
It's not. I don't know. Who knows? People are sensitive, but it seems they definitely have an old style of comedy and very American style of comedy that you can either just jump into. I find with some of their stuff, or you can sort of like be like,
Yeah.
Curtis said they kind of repeat jokes a bit too much. So like they sort of labour the point. So there's a point in the first one, I think, where a guy falls over the balcony, falls on the floor, and he's like, oh, he's dead. And then a sort of a van runs over the man, and then a steamroller comes along, and they're like, oh no, it runs over there. And then a marching band just comes along, and they walk over it. And I found that funnier.
And that's all pressing the remote control, isn't it? Everyone's pressing on the beeper that controls the like the mic. That's definitely
This is the beeper.
Yeah. There's a beep. There's someone's
came out the
got a little beeper, like a car clicker, like
There
an
is,
alarm clicker. And
yes, possibly. I can't remember because so this was the thing is they do kind of meld into one a little bit, both of those films.
I might even be talking about 33 and a third.
Maybe
I don't know.
we weren't at that point, but you're probably right. I do remember something of a clicker, but like so I thought that kind of joke sort of elaborated the joke even more.
It did
so
more
like
to the joke
yeah,
than just
because
telling the exact
then
same
you're
joke.
like, oh, it's ridiculous that a steamroller went over, but it makes sense, flattens it. But then when the marching band, you're like, those are people that are like they know they're marching on somebody and that made for me it pushed it. There are definitely jokes that you sort of go, all right, like that doesn't quite hit. I will say it is a shame what happened, obviously, but O.J. Simpson in that first one is very good. He's all right in the second one, but in the first one there is a scene where because he's in a hospital. Have you ever seen them?
Yes, it's been a long time. I don't remember a great deal about them.
So, and I know you've definitely seen them and mentioned them a few times, but like in the,
I haven't seen them that recently. I recently sat and watched an episode of Police Squad.
oh yes, which it's based on, isn't it?
Which
Where
is what
it's-
Police from the files of which I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah,
because
they're
it's
good.
They're like the original,
Right.
original, which is like the short things that the movies were then adapted into or based upon. And yeah, though they're just, it's just they're so bonkers.
Yeah. They're the same humour as like what Scary Movie is, for Airplane. They've all kind of got that same vibe, which I would say has kind of been out of films for quite a while. It's almost been about
you don't
you don't get films
big
like
comedies.
not
Really?
not
No.
kind of
Not-
like
certainly not.
satirical parody kind
You had
of.
like with Hot Shots and
Well, that's our era was
Those
Hot
kind-
Shots.
yeah.
Then a bit later, you had Scary Movie, but then
Yeah.
you also had like Not Another Superhero Movie or whatever they were called, or Date Movie. There was they did every genre, didn't
Yeah,
they? And
yeah.
then I think they went, it's enough.
Have you ever seen? I think we might have even talked about it before. But have you ever seen Top Secret?
no.
Top Secret is it's basically the same. It's like Hot Shots, but on the spy type
Right.
thing. But it's Val Kilmer,
Okay.
and it's again, couldn't tell you anything specific that happens in it because it's so long ago since I've seen it. But I remember absolutely loving that film more than Hot Shots. Like, I preferred it. Like, everyone always talks about Hot Shots and Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
Top Secret was kind of my Hot Shots.
So I had Loaded Weapon. Which was
they'd gone
which
to...
is a rip of Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
but I really enjoy that's one I always caught on like Sky Movies. And I remember loving that one.
Yeah.
So those ones, I think once you got into the parodies of existing movies as opposed to parodies of genres or parodies of, it started to get a bit too, because then you got like the there was one with, was it Tobey Maguire that was in Grange Hill? Who he appeared as...
Tobey Maguire was in Grange Hill?
Tobey Maguire.
Spider-Man.
Not Spider-Man. No, it wouldn't have been Tobey Maguire then. It was
Tom Holland?
No. It was some English chap. Anyway, English actor.
We've gone from Tobey Maguire to... It's just some English actor.
Some English actor that was in Grange Hill.
Yeah.
But he was in Grange Hill, and then he appeared in one of those movies as basically a parody of Gerard Butler in 300.
Yes.
Right, yes.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
And he was playing that part. The weird kind of the weird
remember,
connection.
yeah,
I can't remember.
I know what you mean.
Those kind of movies, really, I was just like, I don't need to see a parody.
They were the
of a
early
good film.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like those sorts of ones. Scary Movie, I liked because.
But that was a parody of the genre.
Yeah.
And mostly, obviously, Scream.
Mostly Scream, but took a lot of the tropes and took a lot of the.
Yeah.
Whereas
films,
when you get into the Loaded Weapon and the sort of whatever that, as I say, there was a superhero one. And also,
those. It kind of, I think that killed it for a while, and then
early 2000s, wasn't it? That all of that.
Yes, yeah. When
it was almost like it was still the hangover from Scream because that sort of reinvigorated that, and then they were trying to do more.
Well, Scary Movie was the series that I think pushed it all along, didn't it?
Yes.
Because even like the fourth one had even though it was like a new cast, it had 2.5 Men bloke who went on a rampage.
Sheen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen was in it. I think he was the fourth one he was in it. And
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, they went on for...
The only thing I remember from those is the man with the mashed potato.
Oh, and the little hand.
Oh, dude, my good hand.
Yeah. There's the second one. But so they were fun. But yes, so I did enjoy Naked Gun. They were a lot of fun. The second one's quite good because they start doing a lot of breaking the fourth wall kind of vibe. There's a lot of his facial expressions. But Leslie Nielsen is so good
he is
to watch.
Yeah, he is.
He plays that so... I don't even know how you would tell anyone to play that but any better because he plays it so... There is a smug arrogance that you kind of like and kind of he's such an aloof with it all. He is a terrible policeman.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a naivety to it that kind of is entirely believable.
And arrogance combined into thinking he's so good because it's working out for him. And it is so... He is so fun to watch. He is so amazing in that. You just... Almost with... Austin Powers and
Mike
Myers.
Yeah.
It's difficult for anyone else to pull that off. However, I think that's probably easier than what Leslie Nielsen is doing in Naked Gun.
Well, yes, because Leslie Nielsen is playing it straight.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
He plays it straight. Do you know he's a trained he's a proper
proper thespian.
Actor.
Yes.
A real.
But
sort of...
he does. I would say I don't think he plays it as straight as you he doesn't.
Oh, I think he's knowing.
He's quite aloof in how, and his facial expressions are very he does pull some.
Oh yeah, when he gets the Chinese food out the fridge and opens it up, and she says, "Oh, such and such. I thought they closed down in 3 years ago," and then he sniffs it.
He's very good at and the facial. Like I said, in the second one especially, there's a lot more him looking at camera. Someone says something and he'll look at the camera, and you're like, "Oh, that's." And it just got me when I was watching it with my brother. My brother less
keen.
He went 6.5. He likes to give me his little ratings, which are pointless because he's like I said with Star Wars, he gives them terrible ratings.
That's not a bad score, I suppose.
I thought that was all right, 6.5. They're very funny, but yes, very old. Oh, you seeing us?
Oh, spotted yourself.
He's gonna go for the camera, but yeah,
topples over.
Very fun. I enjoyed them a lot. We were going to watch the first, like the new one, but we couldn't get it basically.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, okay, we'll watch the old ones because they were just going off of Netflix.
Right.
So I don't know where you can get them now because it was literally the last day, and I was like, well, let's just watch them.
Quite often when they go off of one streaming service,
they appear somewhere else. Yeah, you just got to figure out where they're.
The license gets cycled through the different services.
Have a look for it, I guess, wherever it is at this time.
But worth a revisit.
I enjoyed them. I'd be interested to know what I suppose younger people that have no context because I do think like 20-year-olds probably, or maybe 15-year-olds right now, don't have the context of the films that we had, like I said, Scary Movie or Airplane and all that. I wonder how much of that has seeped through to youngsters watching like the new Naked Gun.
But that's kind of the idea of bringing things back or reinventing them is to then
for a new audience in a new way and stuff like that.
It doesn't have the same cultural connection to a thing.
Yeah,
and then you kind of
it'd be interesting. But
do you have a most memorable joke having watched them, or do
you know what? Just moments throughout, like, and it was interesting because like the end of the first one, so they have the Queen Elizabeth is in it.
She gets tackled.
Yeah, she does, and he sort of lands on top of her as though he's humping her in the pictures.
Photo on the front of the
paper. But then they go through all the other pages, and they're different photos. They're in different positions. Like, it's so good with visual comedy. And it is throwing. One of Curtis's complaint was, oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, it throws like 5 jokes at you a second or whatever. And I was like, but you laugh at. Even if you laugh at 3 of them, that's it. It's got you within that value of time. Like that. And he was like, no, it felt a bit too much, sort of thing. So I was like, okay, fine. But yes, so the Queen's in it, and at the end, she goes to a baseball game, and his idea is that he has to search all of the other baseball team players for a bomb. So he gets dressed up as an umpire, and he's going like round the players. He's like, oh, body check, armor check. And he's going, he's just done. They're like 4, 20, 25, 25, or whatever. They're doing all the things,
shuffling sideways.
But like that whole bit just feels like almost like a bit from Tom and Jerry to that like old-fashioned cartoon. It's got that
because there is a lot of those comedies are sort of had this Acme-esque.
Yes, there is. Yeah. And it's like you watched it.
Like you say about the gag and the steamroller and the mariachi band or whatever it was. That is very Acme. Looney Tunes.
Just push it to the
that real. I like the whole bit with obviously with O.J. Simpson at the start of the first one as Nordberg.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, where he gets his hand shut at the door, and then the thing that always sticks in my mind is that's all really good. But then when they turn up the following morning at the shipyard, the outline is floating on the chalk outline is just floating on the water, and it's just things like that. It's just like the thoughts, the idea behind the joke is like, I like some. People have really thought through the detail of the gags. And
what we're going to see visually. I think they did a lot of really clever, or fun little jokes. And, there's the whole stuff with him, his car, every time he parks, he can't park. So he's either hitting the back of someone else.
Did anyone get the plate?
There's one bit where his car causes an incredible disaster, and he comes out
he shoots his own car.
He shoots his own car thinking someone else has just rammed all these other cars. It's brilliant. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot... I'm going
to seek them out. I think I'm going to watch the first one again.
So I haven't watched it. Yeah, I want to watch the third one, and then I want to watch the new one.
I'm quite interested to see the Liam Neeson one.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, it didn't review badly.
Yeah.
And there were a few bits in the trailer that certainly made.
They got me.
A type of film that I feel like just won't. It was kind of a film I
won't
feel
capture the same.
Yeah, it won't land quite in the same way, or. Again, I'd be interested to know how much of a younger audience ended up watching that and liking it, or was it just a bit of a nostalgia thing for
a throwback sort of
people
thing.
our age or older?
It did review well, not generally across the board.
Yes,
it reviewed pretty well. Quite often you get a real variance of it's very subjective, isn't it? Some people have, but as a overall, I'm pretty sure.
And Liam Neeson as that part as well. I can totally after. I always remember in was it Life Too Short? Was it Extras? It was Life Too Short, wasn't it? When he comes to the room and
I never watched Life's Too Short.
No, so I didn't particularly like that very much. But there's a scene where he comes in and says, "I want to do comedy."
Right.
And Ricky's there with Stephen Merchant. I think they're the agents or whatever. And he goes, "Right, you're not really known for comedy." And then he goes, "Yeah." And he does this whole bit about going to the doctors.
Let's do some improvisational comedy. No.
Okay.
Knock, knock.
Come in.
Hey.
Hi, how's it going? What seems to be the problem?
I've contracted AIDS.
I think it's so funny. And that I was always like, he could absolutely bang, do it straight. Have that lovable arrogance that you're like, oh, he's thick. How's he getting through? But you kind of, there's a charm to it. And so.
Talking to Ricky Gervais, I watched Mortality, which is his latest.
Any good?
I felt like dialed it in a bit.
Oh, really?
Honestly, it seemed a bit all over the shop.
I have heard that.
It just seemed a bit sort of haphazard, and I've really enjoyed. There was still some funny gags in it, and some.
I don't think I enjoyed his last one so much. The one before I loved, but I think his last one I can't even remember.
It does feel a little bit more like he's kind of just sort of. Which is fine, they can't all be zingers, but there were definitely some funny jokes in it. So some things that are, as you'd expect, quite close to the bone, which make you laugh out loud. But overall, it wasn't as good an experience as some of his previous ones have been. Anyway, sorry, Chris, over to you.
I don't want to talk about anything else anymore.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
Cool. Well, that's fine because I'd like to go home.
I want to go home.
I'm in the office tomorrow, so we'll get out there.
No, I will bang through it quickly, to be honest. I watched the latest series of Stranger Things.
Oh, I haven't.
Have you seen all of it? Yeah, I have watched all of it.
I've watched up to the end of the last series where they were all... Have you seen...
You've seen none of this year's
I've seen none of the latest. So
I gave up during the
3
third
volumes,
one.
didn't they? Three
releases.
3 releases.
Yeah.
So I've seen
like
none
November,
of those.
Then some December, then
the last when I
Eve.
finished whatever the last series was, it was where they were all stood in a field looking out over Hawkins, and there was
and everything's breaking up, and all that bit. Yeah. I enjoyed it, and I'd seen so much stuff about it. Sort of. Oh, it's a terrible. I heard people comparing it to sort of Game of Thrones.
Yes, I've seen
really?
Yeah, level.
See, I've avoided kind of anything. I've avoided any because I like it. Yeah. So I've kind of I want to watch it. So I've kind of avoided reading up about it. I didn't know a great deal
about it going into it, but just what I'd read or heard people say afterwards. And actually, before I'd actually seen it as well, I'd seen people complaining about the ending and like, oh God, what's going to happen, sort of thing. And then I watched it and I was like, oh no, this is fine. This is good. I've enjoyed it. Like the whole throughout its life, Stranger Things. I'd say the first 2 are very, very good. Third, I quite enjoyed as well, but it generally, as a trend, it does sort of trend downwards. This is the 5th series.
I thought the first one was excellent. Second one was, I guess they had to make a sequel, and then the third one, I went, I'm out of this.
No, I've enjoyed it.
As soon as the Russian base, and it was like, oh, we can literally just get in a lift and go to a Russia. I was like, okay, I'm out of this. This is not the show it was at the very beginning, where it was a small town, small kids, small little mystery.
That is something that gets leveled. It kind of got too big, and people. I've heard people say that, but they enjoyed the intimacy almost of the sort of first one in particular. But no, I think it made sense to do what they did because the kids get older, so it does progressively get more elaborate in what's happening. But then I didn't mind, like with the Russia thing. It's like, well, the Russians have opened their own portal, and then they have gotten in that way, and then have set up bases, and then found. I've always enjoyed. I always think one thing it does really well is it pulls off these heists. And that's what they do throughout a lot of Stranger Things broadly, not just this end series. And they do it in a typical vein of 80s movies, of all of those. And that was obviously a huge part of it, was the nostalgia of what it was like. So I'm okay with like secret portals, and it is sci-fi, it is fantasy, it is action, and D&D is so central to it. So the idea of having portals and weird dimensions and things like that, like, no, I'm fine. I'm quite happy with it. And yeah,
that was fine because that was in the first one. There was portals in the first one.
Yeah,
like that was all fine. That wasn't
sure,
the
like,
issue. But
if this power exists in the world, you're not going to be the first ones to. You might be the first ones to find it, but your enemies find out pretty quickly too. So then all of a sudden to have them involved at a point when in real life, that sort of point in the 80s, the Soviet Union was getting desperate. So then to have their involvement in it, it was like that conflict or that relationship between the West and Russia and the Soviet Union stuff. It's really central to the 80s. It was a large part of what the 80s was.
I don't mind the fact that there were Russians. I think it was the fact of how it was presented and how easily they were running. These kids were running around a Russian base and being involved. And it was just like,
but still,
this is bit...
No, but I disagree because I think they've always presented how they do pull off those heists or those moves or how they infiltrate it. I always thought they did it in quite a clever way. It wasn't too clever, but it always seemed to me it was simple enough that, yes, it is plausible that this group of kids could come up with this.
I mean, it could well just be that what you enjoyed most about the first series and what you enjoyed about the first series most were just ever so slightly different in terms of what you took from it, and what you liked was not what they built on, and what you liked was what they built on, and it just kind of stayed within your wheelhouse more so. Because I'm the only reason I haven't watched them, the latest series, is for no reason other than two reasons. Didn't want to watch it in parts. Bugs me that. If you've spoilt me with binge watching, let me fucking binge watch it. I come from a generation where weekly shows, weekly shows was the standard, and it doesn't, it felt like a progression to say, hey, you can have everything now, and now we're going back to the actually, commercially speaking, really we need you to be engaged for more than.
I do like the 3, 3, and 3. I'm not.
I'm okay with it.
I don't.
You may well be, but that's kind of partly it. But also, just I haven't yet had the time to sit down and watch. Like the last series was the one with the whole Metallica bit. Yeah. We got to an episode and thought that we only had one episode left, and then for some reason put off watching that episode for ages because it was like, I don't really want to know what happens because then it's done and I'm finished with it. So we weirdly put off watching that episode. Finally got to watching that episode and then realised that there were 3 more episodes after it. And we're like, oh shit! Yeah, I don't know how I don't know what we've done here. Yeah. But it's not because I don't want to watch it. It's just having the time to invest. Because are they all quite long? I mean, the last episode's 2 hours. Right.
I can't really. They varied the other ones, but some of them were sort of just an hour. But yeah, there were other ones. I think, especially as it got towards the end, they start to get longer. But I thought the criticism it got was unjustified. It's not stellar, and it's not as strong as the earlier series. But if you're going to sort of plateau out. I thought they did fairly well with it, really. Yeah. And yeah, obviously I don't want to spoil too much.
Definitely
with endings, but no, I thought the ending made sense as well. In terms of how they've presented it, and I'm trying to skirt around spoilers. But yeah, I just thought, oh no, this is the reaction to it. Like everybody, and I saw professional wrestler CM Punk, who was talking about this the other day. He's big into nerd culture and always sort of has been, comic books, all that kind of stuff. And he said the problem nowadays is that everybody wants their favourite thing to end in the way they think it should end. And everyone sort of fantasy books it and then just gets really fucking butthurt when it doesn't happen. And then just moans about it. And I kind of agree. Yeah. Like, you can't just have it. Like, accept what is going to happen to some degree. Like, this is what the author, the people that you have been so invested in, think it should end. So, like, yes, you can sort of not fully get it,
but it's not. Yeah, but
the
also
outrage
you've got to recognise it's not your story.
Yeah, the outrage that it generates.
I've heard a lot of people complaining just plot hole wise.
There are
a lot of that, especially in this
There are
series.
bits when you're like, oh, that is a bit dumb.
Like, I've seen some stuff with the Demogorgon that, like, you're like, how's that affecting him? But those things are not affecting him right now.
Like, yes.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that
There
they
is
just go,
potholes,
it needs to happen.
certainly.
So from what I've heard is that script-wise, it is not great and it falls apart.
It suffers from that thing that, and I remember The Walking Dead doing this, where they sort of realised when they had these big dramatic episodes that they were like, everyone loved them and it was great. And then eventually The Walking Dead just became a whole series of just big dramatic moments all the time. And this does sort of slip into that territory. And I think it is sort of just a symptom of sort of the streaming age, I guess, a bit. They want so many of those big highlight jam-packed full of...
they want to power everything up and push.
I wish it
sort
could
of
be
like
Christmas
power
every
creep.
day.
Yeah, kind of.
As soon as you get it, it's like...
and it does suffer a bit from... It does suffer from that. And there certainly are some points. It's like, why have you done that? That seems a bit silly. Why you've done that.
But on
still,
balance,
on balance... No, I think they've done a pretty good job start to finish.
Yeah.
Like I said, even though it does sort of gently, the quality does sort of gently sort of sweep down from 1 to 5.
It's not a nosedive. It's not a nosedive.
Not a nosedive at all. And yeah, I liked the ending. Made sense.
Speaking of 80s nostalgia, just as a one final thing. Also, over the Christmas break, I happened to catch with the children Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah,
but it was the
Frozen Empire one?
No, it was the much derided reboot starring Melissa McCarthy.
The female reboot.
It's a perfectly good movie with a lot of good elements to it. They're all very funny. They're all very good together. And I was actually the outrage more memorable. If I'm honest, than... I haven't seen Frozen Empire, which is the second of the Paul Rudd
I've only
reboot.
seen that one.
But I've seen the first. I've seen the first of those two, and I don't really remember any of it. Whereas
you don't remember the Ghostbusters at the end.
The Ghostbusters. Oh, I remember them turning up. Oh yeah, I remember them turning up and being like, "Oh, that's a shame."
Yeah.
You're here. The original,
the
ones,
original
the Dan
guys,
Aykroyd. Yeah. I remember them turning up in the first of the Paul Rudd starring ones and thinking, oh, that's a shame that you've pulled them in because they don't need to be here. Whereas the one with Melissa McCarthy and everyone else, it's kind of a, yes, it's got a lot of nods to the originals, but it also, I felt like, no, this actually stands quite well on its own 2 feet. It's an enjoyable sort of popcorn movie. It's not great, and it's not the first Ghost, but nothing
it's not a patch on the originals. Yeah.
But as a standalone movie, again doing that kind of thing that we talked about with the Naked Gun, of kind of reintroducing to a new generation a set of characters or a story or a world that kind of may not have been overly exposed. It worked really well. I actually really I quite enjoyed the experience, and as I say, kind of more so I think than the more recent ones.
I think the delivery of that film was not good.
What do you mean by delivery?
So I think basically people had wanted a third Ghostbusters for quite some time, and then
they got that instead.
And Sony kept, from what I heard, Sony kept saying no to who plays Egon?
Harold Ramis.
Yes. Because he was one of the writers of the square. He was, wasn't he? And they, I think he was floating an idea, and also same with oh my god,
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray was kind of like, no, thank you for knowing. Bill Murray was like, no, whatever, passing on it, and then he died, and then Sony went, let's make them all female and do a Ghostbusters, and people went, we have wanted a sequel, and those guys, the other guys are still alive. Like, why are you doing this? So it probably got more hate from that. I like those women mostly individually. I haven't seen that Ghostbusters. But I will say that Melissa McCarthy can get a bit.
She definitely, she definitely can. In this, she actually plays more of the straight.
Right. I like her in Spy. I think she was very good in Spy. I wish there was a sequel.
She's not as good as Jason Statham in Spy.
He's also very good.
No, she plays more of a straight character in this in the Ghostbusters movie. It's Kate McKinnon who plays the really zany, the nutty kind of out there one. I mean, I didn't know any of all of what you just said about the kind of.
I think that didn't help.
I don't have any of that kind of baggage to go with it because I was never. Oh, there needs to be a third. But Ghostbusters movie. No, I was always kind of like, why was there a second? Because it was shit. I thought the second one was terrible.
I never minded the second one.
With the baby and the ooze and the
rubbish. Loved it.
Yeah, I like the second one a lot. I know it's really poo-pooed, but as a kid, I remember the second one, the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. I remember even
Stay Puft's the first. Stay Puft's in the first one. Second one is the Statue of Liberty.
The first one for me is absolutely untouchable. Like there's definitely no with Rick Moranis and everything that happens in the first one is spot on. It's a perfect movie of that kind of type era. But I wasn't a big fan of the second one. I didn't hold kind of a torch to we've got to get more Ghostbusters. We've got to get
the third one, yeah.
So then therefore when that I don't have any of that backstory or bias going into it. Just watching it as it's a film about comedy a thing that I recognise, I'm familiar with, but a different take on it works perfectly well. Thought it was actually sort of quite enjoyable overall.
I suppose the thing is, would you recommend that one over the original first one, which is the one it's?
No, of course not. I would say,
and maybe that's the thing as well. Though
I would always say, if you're going to watch a Ghostbusters movie, watch Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but this was like a soft remake, wasn't it?
Kind of like sort of a bit of a soft reboot, remake,
So I think that's also not going to appeal to fans as well because
that's the thing.
They're not. And this is kind of the mistake. They're not packaging that film for the original fans in many ways. They're doing it for a new audience, trying to hope to get them in. But then the problem is you then just sort of alienate
the problem is the original
the core fan base.
Yeah, their voice their voice is so loud.
But I think it's weird. I do think it's weird. It's you have a fan base already. Why not make both happy and make a film that is going to satisfy?
But then I believe they tried to make both happy with the Paul Rudd starring one, and again it just didn't work that way. But then maybe
they made a sequel and whatever.
But they make a sequel because the first one makes money. The first one makes money because people go to see it out of nostalgia. They then see it having paid their money and go, well, I didn't like that.
Oh no, I'm not just saying the quality of that is necessarily any better, but even if they'd done that one before and just said some of these girls aren't nieces and nephews of the original gang, change up the story a bit. They could have smoothed that whole process over without it being hey, remember Ghostbusters that you love, fans? Here's 4 women and none of your main characters are back in it. In fact, they'll do cameos.
They do. The weird thing is they do cameos, but they don't do cameos as their original characters.
No. That's
so
what
it's like an alternate universe.
And I think
where they aren't those.
Whereas they could have smoothed the whole process over just by having some connection, changing the story up a little bit, and it would have been easier for people to digest.
I don't disagree. I don't care.
I don't care about Ghostbusters.
I agree with you on every level. Just having revisited the movie almost by accident,
without any
of that context, it's not actually that bad.
Yeah,
it's a fun watch. It's a pretty fine,
that's so
entertaining
often the
watch.
case with films that end up getting a lot of hate. It's usually not quite as bad.
The film itself is not that
Madam Web, and
that got so much Madam Web, and we watched it and went, it's just bad Marvel.
And Morbius.
Yeah.
Morbius,
as bad
Morbius wasn't even that wasn't even that
boring.
bad. It was just middle of the road.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was no Blade.
No
Blade for anyone.
Right. Thank you very much, Patreons, for continuing to support us. It is much appreciated. Please please subscribe, please tell people about us and say, hey, have you heard of these guys? They're the funniest blokes around on the internet.
On that internet.
Yeah.
when you type in the YouTubes. Yes, please do like, subscribe, tell people so we can grow and continue to do this forever and I can retire somewhere nice.
Going to the snooker on Saturday.
Oh, yeah?
It's the Masters at Ali Pali. Me and Noah are going for the semi-final.
Very good.
Why, are you having trouble sleeping?